Hello everybody, welcome to the DWF repair bench and lab. Since in this period I'm restoring some old acoustic couplers. This one is almost completely restored. You'll see another video, but I need a way to simulate analog telephone lines in order to better test these modems. By the way, this one is a 1981 Prentice Star acoustic coupler. I don't know if I can show you the label. Yeah, nice one. This is much more recent than this wooden box one. But anyway, the topic of this video is to show how I'm going to simulate the old telephone network, well, a little bit of it, and allow me to make actual connection from this acoustic modems to other modems in my lab, of course. And let's see how did it. Okay, basically the options to recreate an old analog switch telephone network are not many. One of them would be to build homemade analog exchange, but I assure you it's not an easy project. By the way, it will take quite some time. Another option is to get an old office exchange, phone analog exchange, like a small 8 or 8 ports, or even smaller if they existed at all. Like this is a PCB, a board from an old analog telephone exchange from a small office. It was actually a 16-port unit that I had many years ago, but decided that I didn't need that at the time, and just saved only the boards for parts and so on. And so another option that is what I really used is to install a small Linux server. This is a small PC, small form factor PC that I had lying around for quite some years. I didn't find any use for it. It has a small laptop motherboard, and it was like 20 euros some years ago, and it runs a Linux distribution and the Asterisk voice over IP exchange program server actually. And for the analog part, I have this analog telephone adapter, which is a Cisco or Linksys SPA 2102 that has 2 analog ports and network connections and so on. It's very small and costed even a bit less than the server hardware. I have a network switch to connect to the 2 box and everything else in the lab, and I just configured the Asterisk server to use the 2 analog ports, and on one port I've connected this modem, which is 33.6 kilobit capable, but is very versatile modem. It it can talk about any analog protocol starting from V21 or Bell 103 and so on, and it's connected to a serial port of the Asterisk server for login, so I can simulate a remote connection and log into to the Asterisk server. And I have an analog phone, but a modern one, quite modern. It's from the 90s. Because it has DTMF capability. One drawback of this analog telephone adapter is that it doesn't recognize the old pulse dialing from very old telephones. But there are some analog telephone adapters that can use the pulse dial phones, like for example the Grandstream HT502, but I choose it much more documented unit, because it was the first time for me that I attempted to set up a voice over IP server and all the rest. So this also has one thing good from Asterisk is there's some built-in extensions like this one, the Echo one.
You are about to enter an echo test. In this mode, everything you say will be repeated back to you just as soon as it is received. The purpose of this test is to give you an audible sense of the latency between you and the machine that is running the echo test application.
Yeah.
You may end the test by hanging up or pressing the pound key. The echo test has been completed. If you would like to learn more technical information, Asterisk is an open source, full-featured PBX and IVR platform.
Yeah, okay. There's some demo extensions, and of course I can call the other phone from here. This is connected to the modem on the phone port. I'm calling now the other phone. It should ring in a bit. Yeah. We'll talk a bit about this analog phone. This is a Siemens S62 model, edition 4, this particular one. This unit is from 1976, and this phone was introduced in 1962, like the model says, and it has been the preferred phone that the Italian phone company rented to the users from 1964 to 1984. So for 20 years this one the cheapest model actually that you could rent. You couldn't buy this one. The phone company just rented this phones. In Italian it's written proprietà SIP, which means it's property of the Italian phone company of the time, which was a monopoly at that time. So this model was very well known for all people which was born in Italy and grown in the 70s or 60s or even in the 80s. And interestingly, this color was the cheapest one you can rent. And so I've never seen in real life another phone like this, which was called modello unificato, which is a unified model, of another color than this double gray, which was called bigrigio, which means double gray, as I said. I've never seen in real life another phone like this one in another color. They were shown in the company phone directories of the 70s and the 80s, and I believe the reason is that it didn't only cost more to rent for the first time another color phone, but it would cost more for every month to have a red like or white or something else, black phone, analog phone at home. So you would pay more forever if you had another phone like this of another color. So the other colors are very difficult to see in real life. I've never seen one. I wanted very much to to find one, but it's really almost impossible. And so if someone in Italy still has phone directory from the 80s, the early 80s, because this one was not advertised for rent since 1985. So I would like very much to check on an old phone directory if the fee for the colored modello unificato were really higher every month, not only the first time you would rent the phone, just to confirm that, because it seems to me there should be more of the other colors around if it was an higher fee just once and not every month. Anyway, should I either need to make contact for between two acoustic couplers? I also have a Dutch telephone, PTT T65, which, as you can guess, is a 1965 model, but this one should be from 1979 if this is a date code indeed. And I've got this one with one of the acoustic couplers, the more recent one, and with really low price. So well, it's a nice one. So Dutch people, this should be for the Netherlands, like this one is for the Italian people of the 70s and the 80s. An interesting thing of this setup is that I could connect this Asterisk server through the internet to another server or other analog phone adapters, and so someone having maybe a BBS, an old style BBS, could connect a modem through analog telephone adapter like this, and I could log in the BBS the old analog way, even if it's flowing from this point to the internet. Actually, let's see a practical example with an acoustic coupler. Make a call, log in into the server, and so on. A final note before the actual demonstration: this is a part of the web configuration interface of the analog phone adapter, and in order to use the modems to make them talk with even with small a slow modulation like V21, which is 300 baud, I had to disable the echo cancelling options and echo suppression. I have to set no in these configuration options, which is not very nice for voice if you use the line for voice, but to allow the modems to talk to each other, it was really essential. So just thought to mention, but the rest of the configuration I've just followed simple how-tos I found in internet. It was the first time for me, so not an expert in any way. So instead of using a PC with a terminal program, I will use an actual terminal, an Olivetti WS-685, and setting up for 300 bits per second, 8-bit no parity, and well, everything that will work with the acoustic coupler at with a V.21 modulation. This terminal was one of the ones where I first met a Unix installation at the university. This one of the terminals that were in use with a LSX 300 series Unix servers that in the late 80s and early 90s were the Faculty of Engineering, and this one was not working anymore and was abandoned at the basement. So when the LSX were dismissed, I could ask permission to take this one, bring home and repair, and so I have this piece of history for me. I was used to access the BitNet network. If anybody remembers the BitNet, drop me a note. I would like very much to find someone else that knew the BitNet relay and similar features of that inter-university networks. Anyway, that's this is a terminal. I will connect to the acoustic coupler and make the call. So using the smartphone as a DTMF generator, I will call the extension 101, which is the remote modem on the other extension. So let's put the handset in the acoustic coupler. Let's wait that the answering modem tries all the faster modulations that he knows. V21 would be the last one. Yep, got it. And we have a prompt. Top speed of the 70s, well, even the 80s for me, for sure. My first modem was a C64 300 baud. The E on this keyboard is quite dirty. I have to clean the keyboard. Not using this terminal since some years. You see, the server has only 2 gigabytes of RAM, but it's plenty of room for a simple Asterisk server. It will run on a Raspberry Pi 3 for sure. And there are also easier distributions that has for example, graphical user interface, a web interface for configuring Asterisk, like FreePBX is one of these good distributions. What you will find many documentation on the network. And if you want to have a similar setup, you can always write me. I can try to help, but really it was the first time for me also. And the disk also is quite small. It's only a 4 gigabyte compact flash. Actually, there is no hard disk, but only a compact flash. And this is the processor running on the server. Well, always even a small system takes some time to be shown with 300 baud. But back in the 80s, V.22-232 modem would cost like 2 Commodore 64, so this was an option for me. I used 300 bauds also in the first years of university. But I have many modems. That's my soft spot. Modems are really my preferred piece of old technology, so I have many of them by now. So I hope you enjoyed this diving on the past speed, and stay tuned for more and older acoustic coupler videos. And for now, thank you for watching.